Hey friends, Paloma here and welcome to the Bates House. Today I am so excited because I'm finally going to be doing a vintage Christmas decor home tour. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Paloma and I am a vintage lover. I am a full-on maximalist and a penny pincher. So even though my house is full of vintage treasures for different seasons, including Christmas, which is the biggest transition my house gets, I am a full-on thrifter and I do not like to spend a lot of money. So a few key points, if you don't know me, that I always like to share with anyone that crosses my channel is you can create a space that you absolutely love and not break the bank. You can learn to see things differently and repurpose product into whatever you want it to be, and you don't need a lot of material to do it. So we will be covering my own personal DIY pieces and the cost of them, at the same time enjoying the Christmas vibe and decor and all of the fun little vintage treasures. And I will try to consolidate that information and keep it short to the point and allow you to just enjoy. Before we get started, please, if you find this video entertaining or you like any of the information or content, give it a thumbs up. Interacting with the community is very important and it allows for the channel to get traction and grow. And if you enjoy thrifted content or anything like that, I actually have a full playlist of many years of thrifting, and it's actually shown my progression and my love for vintage and my knowledge and information that I learned along the way. So you can check those out at any time just by checking out the playlist section on this channel. Also, I do other content. So if you enjoy it today, then stick around and subscribe. We are trying to build a community to 110,000 subscribers to do a really big vintage goodies giveaway. And hopefully you will make it to the end of every video and enjoy your stay here. So that is pretty much it. Let's go ahead and get started with the Christmas decor home tour.
Welcome in, friends. We are starting in my favorite space in the house, which is my vintage baking station. This room was furnished with $250 and filled with so many thrifted vintage treasures, both functional and decorative. This space is kind of the center of the household. We have our morning coffees together whenever the hubby's not working so much, at the table near the window. We somehow crowd around in this space and talk with the kids. I do all of my baking prep in this space. I do a lot of my haul prep in this space. I come home with my vintage treasures or grocery hauls, and we all wind up in this space. It's simply a workhorse. I like to keep a somewhat natural Christmas vibe in this area by using garland, beads, berries, and ribbon to add pops of Christmas and color. In this space, I try to keep in mind the fact that I want it to feel somewhat primitive, if that's the word. I want it to feel like there are a lot of natural elements, a lot of functional, useful dishes with touches of Christmas. And I do that by incorporating my vintage dishes into the decor, but also pairing it with tins and adorable little dried berries or decorative berries and peppermints and things like that. There are staple pieces that stay up year round, such as the shelf or the tray above it, and then I will just change out or add the decor for the season. So in this case, I added a wreath and I changed out some of the year-round decor for Christmas-themed tins and berries. On top of this refrigerator, I have some dishes that I was gifted from my friend Claudia. She made an adorable little Christmas getup and I absolutely loved it. Now, the reindeer card holder is a hubby's choice. We went into an estate sale. He absolutely had to have this reindeer, and he comes out every year and holds our cards. At first, I thought it was like the craziest thing to bring in the house, but I have to say, after the last few years, he's actually growing on me. There once was a girl who was in love with the idea of having a Hoosier cabinet, but could absolutely not justify spending several hundreds or thousands of dollars on one. So she looked on Facebook Marketplace and found this $30 hutch and converted it into exactly what I wanted. This is my absolute most favorite hutch. But on top, I have decided to start building my collection of stoneware with the blue stripe. There's several different types on here, but I didn't like blue stripe stoneware in the beginning of my thrift journey, but I have actually started to fall in love with it. So I have several pieces growing in this collection. I still have to add some pine cones and berries to some of the bowls. As you can see, I have some filler, but nothing really in there. To make it Christmas, of course, I added the garland and berries and dried fruit garland to the top of the hutch. But I paired that with some Christmas-themed baking tools, such as Christmas-themed rolling pins or cookie molds, some popcorn and berries into the jars, berry stems, things like that. And just spread it out through the top of the hutch, added some Santa decor. Then I topped off each one of the glass fronts with some ribbon and bows to give it a final little touch. As we move to the side of my baking supplies hutch, we have this tall, narrow bookshelf. I found this on Marketplace for $30 and dress it up with some Pyrex dishes that I have, along with some vintage jadeite Fire King. I love these dishes. These are actually a lot of my favorites, so that's why they have their own section where I can look at them every single day. I did dress them up with some little moose head mugs and some coordinating ornaments. I don't do much to change up this section. I just throw in a few little items like tins here and there to add a pop of color or maybe change out the candles. Continuing on, I have two cabinets on the far wall in the baking area. One was a tiny display cabinet and one was actually a gun rack. A man made it many years ago and I refurbished it into a baking pantry. Above this baking pantry, I use a lot of the same thought process that I use on the hutches. I just coordinate that on top of the different hutches. So I layer the garland, the berries, and the fruit garland with touches of berry sprigs or ribbon and some florals, whatever I can do to make it feel Christmassy and festive, but keep it a little organic. I add metal tins, peppermint trees, things like that. I love this ceramic green Christmas tree napkin holder. You can set it sideways and store napkins, or you can just look at it from the front and it looks like a really pretty tree. I love to layer my teapots in copper in this area. For some reason, I am growing in love with copper, so I do have a lot more copper than I used to. This is the first year that I actually have a baking station Christmas tree. It is a mini, but I eventually want to get a tall, skinny tree, but not something that covers the cuckoo clock. And I didn't want to get rid of the 100-plus-year-old chair that I was gifted from my godmother. So I kind of just decided to go with the small one and prop it on the chair for this year. I don't know if you remember, but if you follow me on Instagram, I actually refinished that door myself. It took about 3 days of stripping and sanding, and I have no regrets. I am in love with the dark wood door. I layered a wreath on that and pulled some of the same concepts from the other side of the room to this side of the room. And it just creates a very comfortable, cozy flow, giving it a coordinated look all the way around. These wood vintage mug racks or trinket shelves have to be my favorite shelving pieces to collect. I love to layer different baking supplies on there, and I change out little trinkets throughout the season to coordinate with whatever the season color is. In this space, I had to incorporate a seating area. No matter how many times it changed until it became perfect, there had to be a seating area in this space. And I'm so glad that we did that because we spend a lot of time at this table together. Above it, I just have a cutting board that I actually change out for the seasons. I have copper pots, wood molds, and I just add little bits of red for the festiveness throughout. Again, I layered some ribbon on the front glass panels. I have some holly berries or mistletoe hanging so that when we walk through this area, we get some kisses. And on the top of that, I keep my year-round staple decor pieces and just layer on more tins and berries and whatever else looks Christmassy and festive. Another cute way to add decor is using cookie cutters. Vintage cookie cutters that match your season is a really great way to decorate a baking area. Now, this entire hutch was actually free. And the chairs that we used for legs underneath it were also gifted to us by a friend. So those were free as well, which is fantastic because it stores my everyday large cooking, baking, processing bowls and pots and stuff like that. I did get 3 questions on one of the polls that I posted, and question number 1 was, how do I hang everything? I use very small nails into the wood or even directly into the sheetrock. I'm not afraid to use nails. I'm not afraid to put holes in my walls. We can fix it, change it, repair it, do whatever we need to do if I decide to change my mind. Another question was, what are some of our traditions? And sticking strictly to this space is I will put Christmas music on very loud and begin baking something. If somebody wants to contribute, they know that that means mom's baking. Do I want to go help, or we're getting fun, sweet treats today? Another question I was asked is, what does my hubby think about my madness? And to be honest, he doesn't care. He knows that I am not willing to break the bank to bring in however many treasures I bring in. Also, I do create my own little income reselling what I don't keep so that I can buy different things and hunt for different treasures on a very small budget. I love to go thrifting. I love old things. I am a homemaker and I do a lot in the house. So what I say has value. And if I want to surround myself with treasures, I am absolutely allowed to do that. And he does not try to change me or change anything about my interest or how I do things because he knows that he can trust me. Anything I bring into the house is going to have a purpose. It's going to have a place. It's going to be sorted. It's going to be taken care of. And year after year, it's going to be appreciated. So no matter what I spend on it, it's definitely going to have its money's worth throughout the years. To be honest, we are a 13-year married couple raising teenagers, and that is not an easy thing to do. Teenage boys at that. We go through a lot of hard times, including the different stages that these boys are going through at the moment. They are getting jobs, they're buying their own cars, they are having to become financially responsible, and they depend on the hubby a lot more. And he has a very stressful job as well. If you didn't know, he's a police officer, but he rides a motorcycle, so he is out in the elements at all times. During this time of the year, it is very cold, very windy, very wet, very muggy, very sad, and an ugly place outside of the home. So as my duty as a mother and wife, I absolutely try my best to create a warm, cozy, safe environment for my kids to look forward to when they get home, for my husband to be happy about when he gets home, so that everybody can live in peace no matter what hormonal situation is going on. Well, friends, that is it for this vintage Christmas home decor tour for the baking station, and I hope I answered your questions well. Definitely leave me some questions below for the next one, and we will move on to the next space in the Bates house. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Interact with the channel because it really helps our community grow. Also, leave me a comment down below. Taking a look at these little clips, you can tell me what area you're most interested in seeing next. And I do hope that you will leave some questions below in the comments that I can answer in the next one. If you enjoyed, go ahead and share this video with a friend or anyone that needs some decorating inspiration or just wants to have something playing while decorating their own home. You can follow me on my Instagram at the Bates House, hashtag Bates House, pretty much anything, and we will be there. But for now, guys, that is it for this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!